Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. My name is Morgan Falls, and I'd like to preface this meeting with stating that we have a confidentiality agreement here. Everything that is said between us will still remain 100% confidential, except for child abuse, child neglect, and suicide. If any of those things are mentioned or stated, I am required to report them. Is that okay for us to continue?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Awesome. What brings you in today?
Well, I recently moved from Florida. My husband and I are separated, and we have a child together. Her name's Ella, and I'm just so frustrated, and I'm overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. And so my friends and my family were telling me that I really need to speak to somebody about it, and I had a friend recommend you. So
okay. So how long have you lived here from Florida?
We only moved a couple months ago, so we haven't been here very long.
Mm-hmm. So did you move here for work, for your husband's work?
No. Well, like I said, we are separated, so we lived in Florida together, but my family is here. So once we separated, I moved back so I could be closer to my family.
Oh, that makes sense. You have a good support system then?
Yeah, pretty good.
Well, that's good. So can you tell me about a typical day in the life of Amber Barton is?
Jeez. Well, I have a 1.5-year-old who doesn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what time she goes to bed, she's up at 4 or 5 every single morning raring to go. I have to try my best to get her ready, get breakfast going, get me ready, and if you've never tried to get ready with a 2-year-old, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And we're normally rushing out the door. She eats breakfast, but I'm lucky if I can even get a granola bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get to work, I'm working 8 to 10 hours, and it's just so stressful. And I never stop. And then after work, I pick her up, and we're going until bedtime when I have nothing to do but literally crash in my bed.
Mm-hmm. It's understandable. So you mentioned that you and your husband have recently separated. About how long ago was that?
I guess about 6 months ago.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about your husband and your separation?
Well, we've been married for about 2 years, and we just got into a financial situation where it was just, we were basically living paycheck to paycheck, and we were constantly arguing, constantly fighting, and then we got pregnant with Ella, and things got better for a while, but it came back to we were always fighting about money, about groceries, about everything you could think of, and that's not healthy for either one of us or the baby. And so we felt that it was best if we just separated and worked on ourselves for a while, and hopefully, maybe in the future we can fix things. But for now, there's so much going on that's the farthest thing from my mind.
So has your relationship improved any since the separation with your husband?
Well, we haven't really spoken a whole lot. He checks in on Ella, but we don't really talk much about us and about our relationship. It's really just about how Ella's doing and things that he can do for Ella to help.
So is he active in Ella's life? Does she get to go see him on weekends and things
He
of
lives
that nature?
He doesn't live here, so no, she doesn't see him that often. She probably sees him once a month. We'll make arrangements to either go there or he'll come here and they'll spend time together on the weekend. But because we live so far apart, it's really not plausible to see him on a regular basis.
Okay. So does Ella go to daycare? Is she watched by one of your relatives?
She goes to daycare. And it is, it's a great place, don't get me wrong, but it definitely adds to the stress of my life. I'm a single parent, and although my ex-husband does help financially, it's still a struggle being a financial mom or a single mom and financially having to pay for everything. So
yes, that's understandable. So you mentioned that you're new to the state of Alabama, or you're moving back to Alabama.
Yeah.
Are you living on your own with Ella? Are you living with a family member? What's your living situation like?
Currently, we are living in my mother's basement. And I appreciate, my mother's willingness to help. But she has a full house of her own. She has other children. She's recently married and has stepchildren. And it's busy. And there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
of course, I would love to get out on my own, but again, I'm still stuck in this financial rut that I just can't seem to get out of. I mean, being a single mom is no joke.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's frustrating.
So, are you close with your mother? Do y'all have a good relationship? Is she a good support system for you?
Yeah, when we were younger, I mean, of course, we didn't really see eye to eye, but I'm not sure what teenage girl doesn't argue with their mother. But, you know, she kind of went through the same thing when I was younger, so she's really been a great support for me. Not necessarily financially, just because she's, you know, she's working all the time. She has things to do for her family, and I don't want her to feel responsible for us, you know. So, but yeah, she tries to help the best that she can. She's willing to watch Ella for me if I need her to, if I have to work late or anything. So that's always a bonus.
So, from what I understand, you've been extremely stressed out here lately, and you're underneath a lot of financial burdens. You are living in your mother's basement because of your separation with your husband, and you're new back to the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
And Ella's daycare is another financial burden on top of what you're already struggling. Would you call yourself living paycheck to paycheck now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, single momming it is hard, and you know, I have to buy groceries and diapers and formula, and daycare alone is a struggle for me. So yes, I'm definitely living paycheck to paycheck now.
That's understandable. I'd like to set up some short-term goals for us to just, you know, look forward to the future with. Just They're going to give you little stepping stones to get you, you know, back into financial stability and back into a lifestyle that you would be more comfortable living. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to trying whatever. I mean, anything is better than what I'm currently doing now.
Yes. First, I would like to recommend that you go to a single mother support group. I know that your mother is a great support for you and that she has been there and she's gone through the things that you're going through right now, but it is extremely helpful to be in a room with 5 to 6 other women who are currently going through the same things you are. It's nice support, and if you go a few times and you absolutely hate it, it's okay, but I feel like it would be a great benefit to you. So they meet once a week, typically on Wednesday nights, and they provide childcare during their meetings.
That is very convenient.
Yes, very convenient, and it is free to go to. And so they normally last about an hour, which, you know, is not that long in the grand scheme of things. So I would love for you to try it once a week for 3 weeks, and then you're going to come back, tell me if you love it, tell me if you hate it, and then we'll go on from there. Okay? Does that sound good?
I think so. I mean, we'll have to check out some different ones, and maybe I can find one that fits us the best.
Yes. Our second goal, I would like to try to find a cheaper daycare for Ella, one that is not so financially straining on you. So I would like for you to try and call, let's say, 3 daycares between now and the next time we meet. So April 27th will be a good date to get there by, and just see, like, ask about their programs, if they have any scholarship programs available, things of that nature. How's that sound to you?
Sounds pretty good. I've never thought about a scholarship opportunity before. I didn't realize that daycares did that, so that might be something that would be a great thing to look into.
And the last goal would be to look into housing to get you out of your mother's house and into your own stable housing, so that you be one less thing you have to worry about. So for that, I'm going to say in the next month, we are going to try to reach out to apartments, things of that nature. We can look into Section 8 housing and see if you're qualified for that. I know it's not always the number one thing that you want to be placed into, but it's a very good stepping stone into independent living. How does that sound?
It sounds pretty good. I mean, of course, nobody wants to be living in their mother's basement, so I'm willing to try whatever I need to do to be able to live on my own and be more independent.
Sounds good. All right, Ms. Barton, here is a contract that I'd like you to look over and sign. It's not legally binding. All it's stating is your 3 goals that we've made, and it's just going to hold us accountable to stick with our decision so far, and it'll help us it'll help us at our termination meeting to see if we were successful.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can look over that for me.
glasses on. Yeah, it all looks great to me.
Okay, amazing. I would love to see you once a week for 6 weeks, and then at the end of that 6 weeks, we will determine if further counseling is needed or if we can terminate at that point.
Okay.
Is this time okay for you next week?
Yeah, I think it is. This is a great time. I get off work, the babysitter's covered, so I think this is great.
Amazing. Well, I will see you next week, and if you have any problems, feel free to call my office.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.
You too.